guys and gals, welcome back to another Vinny Productions video. I'm doing this video for two reasons. Number one, I had a request by quite a few of my new subscribers that want to see my layout. And number two, I am going to give the Santan Model Railroad Group a look at what they're in for when they come here in 2 weeks. So, with that being said, Mike Simmons, if you are watching this video, please share it with the rest of the group. Anyhow, Ryan and I have replaced 22 turnouts on this part of the layout, and we still have 2 more to go, but those are not going to get done before the meet that comes up here in 2 weeks. Anyhow, we had just a little bit more to do, and Ryan supposedly is going to be here tomorrow on August 26th. This is being recorded very early in the morning on August 25th. I want to see if I can get this video posted today. Anyhow, we're going to take an imaginary train ride around my layout to give you guys an idea of what's going on. For most of you guys that don't know, this is a prototypical layout. It runs from Phoenix, Arizona to Williams, Arizona. And that is where the BNSF Transcon exists. The railroad calls this east and west, but geographically it's traveling north and south. So I will use the north and south as reference points as we proceed on the layout. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and take the camera off the tripod, and we're going to do a handheld, and hopefully it won't be too much shaking. And so let's get on from there. Stay tuned and we'll be right back. Alright guys, everything starts and ends here. This is Mobis, BNSF Mobis Yard, downtown Phoenix, Arizona. It's just about maybe a mile or 2 miles north of Phoenix proper. Anyhow, we'll start out here, and as you can see, I think there's 11 tracks to go across the entire deal. The first 2 here are for engine facility, in and out, so on and so forth. The next 3 are for storing cars and sorting cars out. The next one would be an arrival departure, and so would the one after that. After that, the 3 tracks you see here are going to be strictly for tankers. It is for Love's Distribution Center, and as it goes, you'll see it back there where those ground throws are. That's going to be the Love's area right there. Now, coming back here, there'll be access to sand plumbing and also Smith Pipe and Steel. They're not hooked up right now, and they won't be hooked up. Any industries that are in this room right now are not going to be operational for the meet. It's just too much work for me to do in too short a time to do it in. Alright, so now we come over to the engine facility. Every locomotive that's in that facility, except for the last 2 SD40s, will be added to this yard when operations start. There's 3 road engines there and 3 switches there. That's the yard switcher right there, and yes, it's a 6-axle big power, but they do use big power here in Phoenix to do some of the switching. Right here, and this is all adjacent to the yard, there's going to be SMG cement, bulk cement facility. And as you can see right there, those are the 5 toggle switches that need to go in to operate the 5 motors that are back there that I can't reach with ground throws. Anyhow, this became a 2-way yard, in and out, front and back. That last track where the 2x3 is sitting needs to be pulled up and readjusted. It's just not quite right. And as you can see, we've got more ground throws to do there, ground throw to do there, 1 to there, and then where the yellow and green wires are sticking up, need to still get wired to the track there, and then like I said, once that last track there gets situated, that'll get power also. Anyhow, there's a lot of stuff on here, even though this is a prototypical layout, that is really not prototypical at this point. And the reason why is because there's certain things that I wanted on this layout. So, with that being said, this is the depot that's downtown Phoenix. It is not being used anymore, not by either railroad or Amtrak. It's just there. I think they turned it into a bunch of office space. Anyhow, move further along, and we have Paramount Petroleum, which is not Paramount Petroleum anymore. Now it's an asphalt producing place. I'm not going to change it because I already have the decal, and I'm just going to leave it the way it is. There's an office and a truck loading facility. And now for the names of the streets. This street right here is McDowell Road. This road back here is 19th Avenue. And that road back there is Grand Avenue. Now, the problem I had was trying to situate the roads correctly. So McDowell is on the angle when it should be Grand that be on the angle. Grand is one of the few streets that cross pretty much across the entire city of Phoenix on a 45-degree angle. Anyhow, with that being said, that empty space back there will be pretty much retail stuff, with the back being like homes like I showed back there. And also here we have a couple of non-rail served businesses. This is a truck repair shop, and this is a heavy leasing equipment place. I think they're all combined as one. Sand plumbing, I think I already mentioned that. And that empty space back there is going to be kind of like some retail and homes, just as it is in real life. Alright, so Mariani. Mariani gets tankers and hoppers. They get service every day of the week, 6 days a week, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. I think it's like that. They load out 30 tankers per day. Yes, I said that right. 30 tankers per day. I had a tour of the place a while back when I was in the middle of starting to build it. Anyhow, a little further, there's actually two other buildings that are between Mariani and Western Refining, which were not rail related, so I left them out, and I did Western Refining. Now, as far as I know, when I was told, they did lubricants and antifreeze. I don't know if that's true or not. That's what I was told. And then further down, we have Fertizona. Now, Fertizona, again, is not in the proper place, but it fit the spot perfect, so I decided to put it here. And the spot that it was supposed to be on, I'm using for something else, but when we get into the other room, I will show you what that is. Let's see. That building right there, right now, is just a placeholder. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to keep it. It's supposed to be Arizona Pacific Paper Recycling. Now that building there is supposed to be where Fertizona is. But I decided to put Fertizona here and maybe use that again. I'm not sure. Alright, I'm going to take a break and then we'll get back to the fictional train ride. So stay tuned and we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, earlier in this video I mentioned that we had all of these ground throws still to install. So we have one there and one there, and I didn't want to put them sticking into the road. So what I'm going to do, and I don't know if this is going to work or not, but the white you see going across there is a number 291 angle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount the ground throw on that side of the road and run the wire under the angle to the turnout. And physically what I have created was a speed bump. And I'm going to do the same thing for over there. A speed bump will look better than having the ground throw sticking in the middle of the road. Alright, so now that that's out of the way, you got to be creative when you're doing a model railroad. I think I told you that this railroad goes from Phoenix to Williams, Arizona. That's 195 miles that I am squeezing into this layout, and it wasn't easy to get everything I wanted, but I succeeded on getting most of the iconic places. Anyhow, our train's going to leave, and sorry for the shaking camera, the arrival or departure track, and he's going to come around here, and he needs to immediately switch over to the outside main, because that's the one that goes the entire layout. This one, if he stays on it, is no big deal. He'll just do a loop and come back in on the other side. But if he misses that one because of traffic that's coming in, he can go through the wall right there, and we'll walk around and I'll show you how it is. Well, we'll be turning around this way, and you'll get to see my computer that's getting ready to go to sleep. And we will walk out around this wall, and when we come back in, the train will be coming on this track right here. No, I'm sorry, if he didn't switch when he was in the other room, he'll be coming in on this track here. So now he has the opportunity to change here to go to the inside main. Anyhow, right here we have, this is just to the north of Phoenix proper. We have Hutig Building Supplies, and we also have Builders Express. Now these two are very prototypical. I haven't seen any lumber or any rail cars in that one for quite a while, but then again, I don't get down in that area very much. Anyhow, it's a good opportunity for switching. As you can see right here, there's a couple of runarounds and extra storage track and so on and so forth. This is a place, I'm not quite sure if I'm going to keep it. It's called Prax Air, and they do welding supplies. It's another place that gets tankers, but I'm not 100% if I'm going to keep that there or maybe rename it or something like that. All the backdrop buildings are all scratched by me, except for that one. A little bit of scenery in there, and that's another kit. That place has been for sale for quite a while now. Anyhow, we'll continue around. Now this basically is the only place that's not prototypical on my layout, and it is Sierra Adobe Ethanol. And you can see it takes up quite a bit of space. It goes from that corner all the way back to here and ends right there. Anyhow, it's got its own entry. Comes in here, and it's got a spur track in there that he can do runarounds and so on and so forth on. And he can come back, and there's a ladder right there that comes up into the elevator with the grain cars, or can go across and pick up the tanker cars. Anyhow, it's a fun place to do switching at. Also in this area, we have the Phoenix Glendale Overflow Yard. And these are for the cars that get, sorry if I'm going too fast, I'm turning around. All the cars that get picked up from here and from there will wind up in here to do the exchange with the Arizona-California Railroad. The backtrack right there with my tankers parked on it, eventually, I know you're not going to be able to see this unless I get under here, I'm going to put a crossover in there to make that another siding. So have a couple more sidings here. Alright, so we continue on. And if, this is going to be hard to do because I'm going to have to walk around the layout again. But anyhow, this industry right here and those industries right there, I call North Phoenix. And that's a great opportunity for switching because there's 5 industries in there and there's one that's pretty tricky to do. So anyhow, once that's there, on the outside now you have 3 track. One is the siding for this area. Then you have a runaround track and so on and so forth. But right there Let me see if I can zoom in. Right there is the last opportunity that the train that's on track 2 can get to track 1. And if he does, his next maneuver is going to be the helix. Let me walk around the other side so I can get a better shot of the helix. Alright, so this track right here, if he doesn't go up the helix, he would go back around, and this would be the track, the other side of the loop, if you want to call it that. Anyhow, the helix is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 loops, 20-inch radius, 2.1, 2.2% grade. Alright, so now we're coming around the top of the helix. And I'm calling this a northbound direction, guys, even though it's actually eastbound. It goes across the first bridge, and that first bridge is called Agua Fria Dry River. And then come over here, and this is going to be my LPG plant. And this is where the further zone was supposed to be in this area also. They were combined together. This is off another sub called the Enos sub. Comes off the Peavine. And then we come around here, and we enter Morristown, which is just south of Wickenburg. And this is still the Route 60 that I mentioned earlier. It's still the same road. We have a Shell station, a Burger King, and a half-built McDonald's. And back here, we have the Hassayampa River, and it's called the Gorge. So when I mention gorge in my op sessions, you guys will know what the gorge is. Anyhow, the track's going to run around there, and the river will make exit here, and we continue around, and we get to this roundabout. And this roundabout was also scratch built by me. The little building in the back is a dedication to my buddy David Durbin. As you can see, it's called the Redneck and City Slicker Disc Repair Shop. Just a spoof, of course. We're both mechanics, and he lives in Arkansas, and I'm from New York, so we had a little fun with that. Anyhow, this road here will go to Las Vegas. And this road here will continue, go under the Wickenburg Bridge, and enter Wickenburg here. But if we take the road and come around this way, we enter Old Town Wickenburg. Now, all of these buildings are also scratch built by myself. Okay, and there is a siding up here, but it's not going to be operational for this meet that's coming up in 2 weeks. Just too much stuff for me to do. Anyhow, we're going to go back into the other room. Now this right here is the exit for Matthew, for the Arizona, California. And that's going to happen. California, Arizona will come out here. It will ride this track, the main line. And I'm sorry if I'm moving a little bit too fast. And it will hold just before the bridge, on this side of the bridge. And meanwhile, the BNSF will be coming up, and this area is also called Castle Hot Springs. I know it's not even close to being where it's supposed to be, but it was the only place I can get it in there. There is a siding up there, and the BNSF will come in on one of the track and come around here and hold short right after the flyover bridges. Then the interchange will happen. The Arizona, California guy will uncouple there. The BNSF guy will uncouple here. He will take his locomotive and pull it onto the other track. And then the Arizona, California can pull his locomotive forward, hook up to the BNSF train that's sitting here. The BNSF locomotives can go back across the bridge, hook up to them, and he continues on. And when he clears the turnout, the Arizona, California can continue on back to Matthew. That was a mouthful. Alright, anyhow, we're going to go ahead and walk back into the other room. I'm sorry if I'm walking too fast, guys. It's just I do normally have a fast pace. Alright, guys, in the last clip I mentioned the Arizona, California Railroad. Anyhow, this is a place called Matthew, and it has a Y right there, as you can see, and it's called the Matthew Y. Anyhow, here's the Arizona, California portion of my layout, and if you continue in that direction, you will eventually come back to the BNSF Transcon heading in a westerly direction. Anyhow, we'll continue on. Our train comes through here, and this is the other side of the siding. I told you it's not being used right now. All my sidings can hold at least 25 cars. That's what I run on my layout. It's pretty much the standard that's going to be on my layout. Also, I need to mention that most of the traffic on this Peavine sub are auto racks and intermodal. My main traffic for now is going to be tankers and hoppers, only because I don't have any of the other stuff. As we continue in northbound direction, we come to Little Hills Canyon. This is one of the places I wanted to have on here because it's pretty iconic. So this road here is not even being used anymore, but when I saw the picture of this and I saw that road, and I said I got to build it, and I scratch built the bridge and the towers for the main bridge up the top. Anyhow, the scenery in this area is pretty much done, and it goes from desert to higher country and comes into pine trees. Most of these pine trees were donated to me by Peter LL. You might know his channel. And now we come across, well, not yet. There's a track in the back that continues from there, goes around the backside of this mountain, and comes out here. And our next stop is going to be coming out over that girder bridge and into Drake cement country. Now I put the structures I have built up there for now, just so you guys can see how it's going to look pretty much. But anyhow, we have the main line here, then we have a siding and a runaround track, so we could do switching in the plant without fouling up the main line. The switcher was a gift from Roy Hardwick, Container Man 68, and we'll continue around the backside, and we're going to come up to Hell Canyon Bridge. They don't call it Big Hell Canyon, they just call it Hell Canyon. Now prototypically, it's not even in the right place either. And the reason why I say that is because Drake Cement, if you can see the building in the background back there, that's where they store the stuff that they actually quarry. So they would have a conveyor going back under the bridge and about a half a mile further down to where their quarry is, and they quarry up the limestone, I believe it is. And so that building is the storage building. Alright, so now we're on the uppermost part of my layout, and we're going to be coming again behind this mountain right here, and we're up on the top deck now, and we enter the town of Ash Fork. Now Ash Fork's going to have 3 track up there, and one will be for arrival and departure, one will be for storage, and one will be for runaround. At the present time I have my Amtrak sitting up there, which is another non-prototypical run on my layout, but I'm going to do it because I have a station now. Anyhow, from this point here, it will continue up to Williams, and then at Williams it has a junction to join the Transcon main line heading in the east direction. And its next stop would be Winslow, Arizona. Anyhow, this concludes my Peavine sub overview. And I hope you guys and gals enjoyed watching it. Especially the Santan guys. I hope you guys are watching this so you get an idea of what you're in for when you head down to my house. Alright, so with that being said, I bid you all a farewell, and we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching, and as always, your questions, comments, input, subs, shares, and likes are always welcome. For now, that's all folks. BNSF 6951 out.